Welcome back to the You're Not Crazy podcast, where you might be a little crazy.
But if you are, you're in good company.
All right, guys. So I just woke up from a nap. So
we are both exhausted.
Yeah, it's been a good 2 weeks, but a long 2 weeks, and I really didn't even mean to fall asleep. I was waiting on a reel to upload on our business page, and it was taking forever, and I just fell asleep and woke up in a puddle of slob. So there's that. So here we are, and today we just kind of we were kind of shooting some ideas earlier, and we were talking about what it means to maintain friendships while still trying to be a mom. And if that can't make you a little crazy, I don't know what will. Yes. So I don't know. What's your take on that before I say anything?
I think that has been something that I think I've always in some ways struggled with that or whatever. And I say air quotes because when you're not looking for it, you don't realize that it's a struggle for you. Or if you don't have the opportunity to even like facilitate that or like work towards that, you don't see it as that you're actually struggling with doing it until you try to do it. But the last couple of weeks has been testing me, but I've had some good experiences, which I'm like, okay, Lord, I guess you're working real fast. But like, I had a really good conversation with my best friend, and it was even though it was quick, like the conversation about like us navigating being friends and not living in the same place and me being a mom and all of that, like it was a really quick conversation, but I think it was one that we needed to like talk about again. And I think I was on because she was honest with me enough to say like sometimes I'm not looking for us to have like a long drawn out conversation. Sometimes I'm not even looking for us to talk. Look, I just want to be on the phone with you, like be a part of your life, if that makes sense, because I am so far away. And so I'm fine with just being in the background or us not talking about anything, because the reality is when we were friends, when she was living here, and even when we were living together, there was many times that we weren't talking all day, but we were just in each other's space, you know? And so I was like, I get it, because I have not called or wanted to have conversations only when I had time to like step away and really devote to the conversation, because I don't want to be in the middle of a conversation with my best friend that I don't talk to all the time, that does not live here, and I'm fussing at the children or trying to like interact with them, or they're asking me questions, or still trying to mom and be a friend at the same time while she's telling me we're getting caught up, you know? I just was like, I don't want to talk to you and be having to do that at the same time. I want to be a time where my husband's like, hey, look, I got kids, you're good. But for her, she was like, that doesn't bother me, because I know you're busy. You're a mom. Like, you have children, you have a husband. Like, I get it. And that felt really good for me, because it kind of took the pressure off for us to have conversations that looked a certain way. But also, that's real life. That's realistic. You know, it's not realistic that I'm only going to be talking to her in moments where the children are quiet or whatever, because most times when the children are down for a nap, that's my chill time, or that's time for me trying to take a nap. If they're going to bed, the last thing I want to do is be on a phone call. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my time once again to either like finish up something or talk to my husband about something, or not talk at all, because I've been talking all day, you know? So, but that was just refreshing. And then we continued the conversation and to talk about something completely different, but still in that moment, I was just like, okay, like that felt really good. And the Lord is really working on me with reconnecting with people, which I think we talked about this on one of the other ones. But when I was able to reconnect with two of my friends that I grew up with, I didn't realize like how they still thought of me, if that makes sense. You know how you think about someone, you don't know how they think about you. And so we haven't like been in the same space in years, like probably like a decade and more. Like it's been a very long time. We just kind of stay, like I know what they have going on, they know what I have going on via social media, and that's pretty much it. And I was able to reconnect with them, but I actually followed up with that. And normally that's not something I do. Like, I'm just kind of like, okay, but they were like, no, like, you need to message us. Like, we need to, like, hang out, when you're in town and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, okay, like, I think I might follow you up on that. And so I did. I followed up with both of them. I told one of them happy birthday and, like, spoke with her briefly and then talked to the other one recently. So I'm like, okay, it's starting to feel like I can do it, but I'm still nervous because I haven't done it for a very long time. Even because I cut off people before having children. So there's that. So for me, it feels like it's been like 10 years since I have like really tried to follow through with like keep up the friendships that I have and even like build or rebuild ones from before. So y'all be on the journey with me. I'll let you know how that goes. But yeah, anyways, that's my spill.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think that's pretty cool that you and your best friend, which I know who that is, but without throwing her name out there, but that you guys had that conversation and that she was mature enough to say, hey, I get it. You're a mom. You're busy. Like, everybody doesn't think that way. So that's a blessing. And that lets you know that person really, truly loves you. Because sometimes people are friends with you for the benefit of what you can give them. And if you base your friendship off of that friendship is not, first of all, it's not built on a sturdy foundation because, number one, if we're friends based upon what I can give to you, then what happens when I can't? What happens when I'm down and out? What happens when I'm going through? And not something flying in my nose. Lord, just rude. Because why? What the heck was that? Anyway, a dust mite or something. It just literally flew in. Okay, anyway, I wonder if the camera caught it. But anyway, I just feel like for me personally, I have struggled with it now as a mom. But for me, before being a mom, I struggled with friendships because of my personality. Mm-hmm. So I'm very much a people person. I love people. I used to think I was extroverted, but I found out later on in life that I'm not as extroverted as I thought I was. I'm really an ambivert, which means that I can be introverted and extroverted. It just depends on where I'm at in life, what's going on. And it also depends on the atmosphere, the people, just everything. Yeah. And so for me, and a lot of times when I was feeling extroverted, it wasn't true extroversion. It was, I was afraid to be by myself because I was battling things mentally and I didn't want to be left alone to my devices. So once I got healing from that, I realized very quickly, very quickly, it was the pandemic and quarantine. I was like, oh, y'all got to go. I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? So, and I realized I liked being in my own company. Yeah. And I said, when people used to say that, I'd be like, what's wrong? She's like, I just love being by myself. Like, and I'm like, okay, you're weird. And that was glorified for so long. It still is glorified. Being an introvert is glorified because then people feel like if you're an extrovert, you're extra, you're, and that's, you're needy. And it's such a nasty, terrible connotation with extroverts when really all an extrovert is someone who just enjoys being in people's company and gets energized from that. There's nothing wrong with that.
But before, introverts were looked down upon as being loners or people who were stuck up and rude and prudish or don't like to be around people. So
and it's just your preference.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with you being nasty. You can be an extrovert with a nasty personality. You know what I'm saying?
There's lots of them, especially in the South.
Yes. So for me, I felt like a lot of times I got the same criticism from certain friends who would say things like, you friends with everybody. Mm-hmm. You cool with everybody. And I'd be like, but I'm not though. Like, you're my friend. And it was hard to prove to them that they were the ones that mattered to me because I was such a loving, people are naturally drawn to me. I know that about myself now. I didn't understand it before. I just was like, okay. But people are naturally drawn to my personality. That's my personality. I'm loving. I'm caring. I invite people into my space, and then I push them out. But that's just how I am. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, people are naturally drawn to me. And so people assume that because you're sitting in my house having a conversation that we're friends, but I'm just being a loving, caring person. And I used to even think, oh, they're sitting in my house, so we must be friends. And I realized very quickly, this is just an assignment that God has me on. This has nothing to do with friendship. Now, have some of those assignments turned into friendship? Absolutely.
Right.
But as I stopped being everything to everybody, slowly but surely, my circle got smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's when I realized, oh, they weren't my friends. They just needed something from me. And that's not always a negative thing. Now, you do have people who are users and abusers, but sometimes people just need something. They need your energy. They need your encouragement. They need a laugh, whatever it may be. That doesn't mean that you all are best friends. Yeah. So because of the seed of rejection that was in my life, I clung to people that I felt like,
I'm sorry, because I'm like, we're so saved.
Yeah, the seed of rejection. But that seed of rejection, for real, the root of it in my life is literally the reason why I was so quick to call somebody my best friend, or quick to say that's my friend. Because we sit down, we have one meaningful conversation, and I'm like, oh, like that's it. Mm-hmm. And I dealt with rejection after rejection after rejection, because there were people, and I went through this phase where I was searching for that best friend, if you will. And it's kind of embarrassing, but it's my story. But when I look back on it, I cringe, because I'm like, ooh, like, how, and it's scary, because sometimes I'm like, how do those same people perceive me that same way now, because I'm not that person? But it gets me a little like emotional thinking about it. I remember I was sitting at an event, and I think you might have been there with me. But was sitting at an event, and one of the people that was hosting it was speaking and brought up how we became friends, and kind of painted this picture of me like chasing behind them. And that thing bothered me, because I was like, is that how you perceive that? Because, you know, and it bothered me for a while. And I'm like, dog. So then you have all these other women in the room looking at me like, oh, she that girl. You know, like, and I'm sure it was nothing like that, but that's how I perceived it. And so now you put motherhood in it. And a lot of times people automatically assume if you're a mother and you have single friends, the single friends don't get it. But sometimes the single friends are more understanding than the other mothers. Because I've been in friendships where other mothers have legit got upset with me because I couldn't be available. And I'm literally busy. It's not that I don't want to talk to you. It's not that I got stuff going on. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I forget. Right. So it's like, okay, so what's the deal? You know what I'm saying? And so I have had to battle that. But I've also been in situations where I have had friends who just simply don't get it. And they're not trying to get it. In their mind, oh, I thought we were going out. And it's like, okay, yeah, I may have said yes yesterday, but today my son is sick. I can't go. And then you deal with the attitude that comes with it. So that's the part that's kind of sometimes can be frustrating to navigate. But I have to be honest to say that I feel like the season of life that we're in now, most of the people I'm connected to, they get it. They get it. And so, but it can be a scary journey, especially when you're young. Because when Cody and I, we talk about this all the time. When we first got married, you know, we got pregnant 2 months after we got married. And so our life completely flipped. And we had friends that told us that they automatically assumed we just weren't going to be around. And they just stopped inviting us, stopped including us. And we were like, what's that? Like, we're still here. You know what I'm saying? And it was hard to navigate, because at the time we were the only couple that was married and with kids. And it was hard to navigate that. It was very hard to navigate that. And also trying to meet the needs of other friendships, and then meet the needs of being a husband and wife and a parent. And it's nothing easy about that.
Well, I'm not even knowing what in the heck you're doing.
Just as green, don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? Making dumb decisions. I mean, we made some dumb decisions. I mean, we used to have people in our house till 3:00 in the morning, and we have a 1-year-old. Like, why? But for us, it was like, oh, we're, you know, And I don't regret those times, but I look back on it and said I would have did it much differently. But I've also learned from it, because now when certain things are supposed to be going down, either you're not coming over, or, hey, all right, it's time to put the boys to bed. We love y'all. We'll see y'all later. And even our friends have adjusted to that to say, hey, they notice, oh, it's about that time. All right, y'all, we'll see y'all later. But that's not always the case for everybody. So for me, I really do appreciate the fact that your best friend said that, because, and you needed to hear that, because I'm sure there were some insecurities there to go, dog, I ain't talked to my sis in forever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I haven't been able to see her as often as I would like. I've gone up there one time and been wanting to get back up there, and then I think, Lord, what happened? The pandemic for one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, then eventually I got pregnant. And then I was actually planning to go back up there while I was pregnant, but my pregnancy was so rough, and I was like, traveling was so hard for me that I couldn't get up there, because I was just worried that I wasn't going to last in the car. And I mean, she was like, I'll meet y'all halfway, because my parents, it's like about halfway mark or whatever. She's like, I'll meet halfway, like, I'll drive, so like Norman and the kids like can, be at your parents'. So that was the plan, is we were going to be at my parents', and then I was just going to go up there. And she was like, I'll just, drive, because I was just worried about that. But I just never got a chance to, because I was just always so sick. And now it's just like, okay, like I really do need to go. And then financially, it just did not make sense, because I also am not going to go up there and be like, I'm here,
but I ain't got no money.
I ain't got no money to do nothing, but I'm here. And it's not like she would care, but it's just me personally. Like, I'm like, I'm not going to come up here on a wing and a prayer just to be able to say I came, which in some ways I think I am not a spontaneous, we going on a wing and a prayer type person. Like, I'm not. Like, I want to be overly prepared. And
I'm the complete opposite.
I know you are. And I know for me, in some ways, it probably has helped me, but also hindered me from doing certain things, because I'm just like, I don't want to do, like, I'm just not prepared, But in this instance, I know when I go, like, I want to be able to just enjoy, chill, relax, and not have to, like, worry, whatever. So, but it's going to happen soon, because it's past time. But yeah, we both need to have that conversation. I think she needs to hear my perspective, but I definitely needed to hear hers.
And sometimes they're not thinking what we think they're thinking. I mean, I had a conversation with my other best friend as well, and I feel like, and I had it with her a while ago, but she was like, you got stuff going on, you're a mom. Like, it's cool, because I was feeling so guilty. Like, dog, I haven't called her, I haven't texted her. And she's also in a completely different state. So it's like, man, I used to feel so guilty, like, dog, I haven't talked to her in God knows when. I have not gone to see her. I got to go one time. And there's just a lot of guilt there from that. But she's like, I get it. I understand. Like, you got stuff going on. Yeah. And so it's a blessing to be able to have friends that get it, that understand, and aren't judging you for it. And sometimes you may have to have that conversation once a year, because things shift.
Things definitely shift.
But at least and at least you can acknowledge it to say, am I crazy? Like, am I really, is this what I think it is? Because sometimes it's just having a conversation. I have played out so many scenarios in my head that were absolutely false. I have told myself, this person is thinking this, or this person is thinking that. And then when you sit down and talk to them, it's nothing like that.
The opposite. Or they were thinking that, but not in the tone that we thought they were thinking. You know what I mean? We're thinking like, well, I know she got kids, da, 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 da. But in their mind, they're like, no, like, she has kids. Like, that's just what it is. I think too, though, I thought about this when you said, like, some moms seem like they were always understanding. But I think sometimes for moms, for some, it could be either that they were judging, they were jealous, or they didn't know how to say, like, I need to be in, like, I need to be around people, I need to be in your presence. And so it comes off as them not being understanding, but really they're saying, like, look, I am desperate. Like, I need to get out of the house. Like, you are my only way of, like, getting that. But motherhood is the hood, man. It is the hood. It's beautiful though. Like, it's wonderful. Like, especially getting to go through with other people and like watching their children grow as your children grow and they grow together. Like, that is all beautiful. But it's hard enough to navigate yourself through motherhood than having to navigate with other people that are outside of your household is a whole other thing, because trying to just get me together in this is already one thing. So trying to draw in somebody else and be thoughtful of their feelings and all of that good stuff, and having like feeling like I need to explain or I want them to understand all of that. Sometimes I'm like, I don't have the energy. Like today is one of them days, so I don't have it. I am pooped. I'm done. Finito. Finished.
You brought up a point, because what I was saying earlier about other moms, jealousy was a thing that I thought of, because I had an experience like that before with some jealousy. And it was hard for me to admit that it was jealousy. So I'm like, why would somebody be jealous of me? Like, I ain't got nothing going on. What you jealous of? But you never know. It could be the smallest thing that they see in you that they wish they had. And that's the sad thing, because communication is key. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when we battle with jealousy, it's really just, it's rejection, but it's also a point where it's a recognizer or an indicator to say, I got to work on something, because if that's insecurity, that's the word, pregnancy brain. Insecurity, where I'm jealous of something, but why am I jealous?
Why does that even bother me?
Right. Why is it bothering me that her husband and the kids are going to the park right now? Why does that bother me? Is it because I have been battling with family time and I need to work on that? And so now that she's doing it, now I feel some type of way. You know, like, what is it?
Yeah, it's always something more to it.
Yeah.
Always something more to it. It's easy, it's easy to look for things to look completely different in one view than what it really is behind the scenes. And that's the part why sometimes I think conversations are so important to have, because it can seem like someone has it all together or their kids are on a schedule and all of that kind of stuff. But really, that's the only sanity or piece of sanity that they have. Mm-hmm. So it's like, my children are on the schedule because I literally feel like I'm going to break any minute. So this has to work, you know? And so on the outside, it's like, wow, like she really, it's like discipline and all of this. And in her mind, she was like, if one thing falls out of view or off of the schedule, like, I'm going to fall apart, because this is what's keeping me up right now. You know what I mean? This is what keeps me going. And so, I mean, it can just look so many different ways. Or for some people, being on the schedule is they're able to thrive and be able to plan certain things because everything is on the schedule. So it just depends. Like, it looks completely different behind the scenes than what it looks like in front. You know what I mean? And so I think it's important for moms to have a conversation with other moms, but also it's important for moms who have friends who are not moms to also have those conversations with them so they can understand. Mm-hmm. And I think part of why she was able to understand and be like, I get it, is because she's heard the conversations over the, even though we weren't having them consistently, there were times where I was on the phone crying because I just felt so insignificant. And I felt like I just was not doing what I was supposed to be doing, or I felt like I had lost myself. Like, she's heard those conversations. So I think over time, she's like, I get it. Like, it's like, I completely get it. Like, I hear, not only do I hear them in the background, but I also know what that does to you. So,
but she also has a very she's very unique in the fact that she's probably one of the most understanding people I know. I remember, I remember I've had conversations with her as well. I remember during the pandemic when all of us would be on Zoom.
Yeah.
And like sometimes we would be on there after most of the people got off, and I remember like just her ability to just understand where people are and get it. And I just think that everybody doesn't have that. Like,
everybody don't want it.
Everybody don't want it. And some people don't want to understand because they want to have a reason to be upset. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are some people that feed off of just being upset about everything.
They just need to be.
Yeah, and it's like, you ain't happy about that. Like, oh, okay, you ask them how your day was. They're smiling at first, like, how was your day? It's like, but wait, you were just fine like 2 seconds ago. It's like they don't know how to just be positive for like 2 seconds. I have people like that in my life that I avoid. I'm like, if I don't have it for that day, this baby is literally, I don't know he kicking me here and here all at the same time.
When I tell you I'm exhausted.
I'm sorry, y'all. It's okay.
What are you doing, Cookie?
He is literally.
Y'all
got to bear with me. And the more we record, I'm just gonna get bigger and bigger and just be sitting here like, she do this all day.
What are you doing?
Oh Lord.
What are you doing?
I think something like right. Anyway, but I think we made our point.
We've made our point,
and I think I want you all to comment below and let us know, like, what has been your experience if you're a mom. What's been your experience as what's the word I'm looking for?
Navigating through friendships.
It's okay. What's been your experience navigating and balancing friendships and motherhood? And if you're not a mother, but you're on the other end of it, you're a friend, what are you doing? You're a friend that...
ask your friend, what are you doing?
What are you doing? If you're a friend of a mother who maybe sometimes you have felt rejected by them because of what they have going on, like how do you handle that? And how have you handled being in friendships? Because there's some people that distance themselves, not because they're mad at them, but because they know they can't handle that. I need a friend that's going to be ready to go when I'm ready to go. And that's maturity too, to say, hey, I love you. When you're ready, let's get back on it. But I'm the type of person, I need a friend that I can talk to every other day. I need a friend that I can pick up and we can go. And I don't see anything wrong with that because you're setting yourself up for less disappointment by doing that. So it just, so comment below, let us know your thoughts on that. And also let us know what some topics that you all want us to touch on.
Please.
We're willing to talk about pretty much everything except for certain topics that, well, we may not want to talk about it. So
I was about to say, other reason is that we just don't want to talk about it.
Just don't want to talk about it.
Or don't feel comfortable putting ourselves out there on certain things because sometimes
you say one thing and you cancel.
And then sometimes on social media, I think because we do put ourselves out there so much that we don't have certain things that are just sacred and intimate and for us. And so there's certain things that we may just not want to talk about because that's just a conversation that we want to have with close friends and our husbands or whatever in the intimacy of our own home or space and not in front of thousands of people, you know? So it's it's just, sometimes you just want to be able to talk freely and not have to worry about every word
being picked apart.
Yes. And sometimes it's just, I just don't want to talk about that in front of everybody. Like I want to just talk about that around my friends. And if I say something that is either wrong or offensive, I can take that from someone who loves me and can correct me or give me feedback or whatever. And we can have that conversation. But some things I would rather do that in private and then maybe later talk about it or not. I've been feeling like that. Like, I feel like everything is on social media and it just makes me feel like, what is sacred and intimate anymore? Like, what is just yours? What is something that only you and your husband know or only you and your best friend know? It's like, it just seems like everybody puts all of their business on social media.
And that's a whole nother, that's another
whole other thing.
Another episode we can talk about. But Jess, for the most part, whatever topics you put in there, we'll probably touch on them. So put them in there, unless y'all asking us to, give y'all our blood type and our social security number. I don't, just put it in there. So we love y'all. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for staying all the way to the end of this video.
I'm so sorry for being exhausted, guys.
Oh, child, don't apologize for that.
I'm just saying, I know it's...
I look exhausted. You feel exhausted. I actually look and feel exhausted. But...
Oh, no. There's exhaustion up under this foundation. That's why there's foundation. And it probably looks really terrible on the camera because I probably looked like I was painting myself. And I was just like...
I literally rolled out of bed and Voila. So, but we love you guys. We'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.
Ditto.